Maharaj's Quantity Garden?
Huh? You don't know Maharaj's car. You're coming with us too. I just did.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Huh? What? Can't hear you.
Haribol?
Maybe take one of these for yours.
Because it's warmer.
What?
Because
I don't know where did it come from. It was snowing and now it's flies.
he's got to take some fuel cards maybe he doesn't get there. He's coming away now?
Yeah.
Who else is coming?
It's 4 in your car. Yeah. 2 gurus and these 2 fellows. Huh? What are you doing, Sachi?
Practicing.
Is it working?
Yeah.
What are you getting?
Did you take the lens cover off?
Yes.
You might want to just get one.
I can put it in there. Don't put it in the trunk, you know?
Why don't you
Hang it over the seat. So that way it's
The red light is off from it.
suspended and that way.
You can't put the lens cap back.
Don't put under in there.
Okay.
Candramauli Maharaj. Does he know that we're leaving? Could you tell Candramauli Maharaj we're waiting for him?
I think he was shutting his computer down.
Can you take my red bag?
Yeah, I'll bring it.
Everyone should come in from this way.
What side fall?
Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such kings. And those who worship me will live with me. Worship Krishna speaking. If one has any desire to go to the moon, or the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by the prescribed Vedic principles recommended for that purpose. Such is the process technically known as darshan, bhavana, masa, tanamasa. These are biblically described in the fruit of activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go out to many ghostly planets to become a yaksha, raksha, vishaka. Vishaka worship is called black arts or black magic. For many men who practice this black art may think that it is spiritualism, but such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know them, know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire universe, to the effect that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home. The Gita. Actually, Krishna is the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. Vyasadeva, who is the author of Vedic literature, wrote down the Bhagavad Gita within the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is considered the fifth Veda, and is recommended in this age because most people have a very difficult time understanding very complex philosophical principles that are given in most scriptures. So in order to teach some of the highest principles in the most simplest ways, Vyasadeva gave a position of Bhagavad Gita within the Mahabharata, which deals with romance, history, and various types of intrigue, war, which are more attractive to people in general. So in the Bhagavad Gita, as he presents it, he never says Sri Krishna Uvacha. Why? Because people sometimes misunderstand who is Krishna. What is his position? Actually, he says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Because if people say Sri Krishna Uvacha, they'll think yes, Krishna is the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, but he's not God. He's not God. He's just some very powerful personality, maybe even of a demigod. But the Supreme Lord, people take issue with that, even to this day. There are books written explaining Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is simply something different than the supreme authority of all authorities. So in order to present this teaching as the most authoritative teaching and giving the recognition to the speaker as the supreme authority, and that is the supreme personality of Godhead, he refers to Krishna as Bhagavan, or one who is full in all six opulences. The Supreme Lord is actually the source of all opulences, and he's called Bhagavan, or one who possesses all the opulences, all wealth, all strength, all beauty, all knowledge, all fame, and ultimately all renunciation. Those things that are sought after by materialistic people in this world is found completely and, what we say, totally in the Supreme Personality of God. He is the source of everything. Therefore he is called Bhagavan. So establishing that the Supreme Lord is the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, this gives authority to Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise people can accept or reject based on their own understandings or on misunderstandings they hear from commentators who have no clear conception of the speaker. And in this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining of the nature of worship. He's explaining how by performing worship accordingly one gets the destination according to the nature of that worship. And in this 9th chapter, which is considered the most confidential of all knowledge, Krishna is saying ultimately that if you worship the devas, you go to the devas. If you worship ghosts and spirits, you take birth among such beings. If you worship ancestors, you go to the planets where one's ancestors are. And if you worship me, you live with me. And there was one popular spiritualist in India used to say, Yata mata tata pata. Any worship is okay as long as you worship. He said, why worship the Tulsi plant? Tulsi is a pure devotee. She's actually a resident of the spiritual world. He would say, why worship the Tulsi plant? Why don't you worship the eggplant? Because from the eggplant you get something good, practical, some food. So, in other words, worship whatever way you worship, but do some kind of worship. But Krishna is clarifying that all worship is not the same. It's just like if you want to, here we are in Connecticut, if you want to go to New York, you decide to go north. Of course, you go north. But anyway, if you want to go to the destination, you have to go in the direction that is recommended, and that is the actual destination. So no activity in a certain direction will bring the same results as all other activity. So Krishna is explaining how important it is to worship him in order to get the results of the highest benefit. And in other places of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains his relationship with other living entities. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matat sarvam pravartante iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava sanamitaha. He's establishing himself as the Supreme Lord. He says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything comes from me. One who is actually wise, one who is actually intelligent, worships me with all their heart. Surrenders to me and worships me with all their heart. And Krishna gives the standard for ultimately for what is the worship, the highest worship. If one wants material benefits, then they go to demigods. Demigods are empowered by the Lord. They're administrative posts without the creation in order to allow people to facilitate their material desires. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter that the benefits given by the demigods are ultimately bestowed upon me, by me. In other words, the demigods get their power from me. It's just like, what would be an example I was thinking of? Why? Another good example. How by worshiping or praising one person, you're trying to satisfy another. And maybe you're connected to that person, but ultimately is not that person. That's the point. So ultimately, Krishna is establishing his supreme position. And demigods, even those who are not devotees, those who are very materialistic, and those who are actually asuras, demons, worship the devas. It's explained in the Ramayana that Ravana worshipped Shiva. Now Shiva is a great Vaishnava. Vaishnavayati yatav Shambhu. He's the greatest of all Vaishnavas. And he himself worships the Supreme Lord in the form of Krishna. That's explained. So, but he is in a position to give benedictions to others, material benedictions. He gave a benediction to one demon called Rikasura. He's called Asutos. Asutos means one who's easily pleased and one who is easily angered. He's satisfied very easily. So even if demons satisfy the devas, they can get material benedictions. So Rikasura, he was a very low-class demon. He wanted the benediction that anyone's head he touched would crack immediately upon touching it. So what did he do? He started to worship Shiva by performing austerities in the form of cutting off his flesh and throwing it into the fire, and chanting mantras to Lord Shiva. Finally, this rascal decided to cut off his own head to throw it into the fire. He was so determined to get a material benediction that he was willing to do anything. And then Shiva appeared to him and said, okay, what do you want? And then he said, I want the benediction that whoever's head I touch would immediately crack. Isn't that a wonderful benediction? I mean, why would anyone ask for that? But that's the nature of asuras. You know, they're simply thinking in terms of, you know, how to cause harm to others. So Shiva, bound by the austerities of his worshippers, gave that benediction. But then what happened is that demon decided to try it on Shiva. Yeah, because he was looking at Parvati. He was thinking, yeah, Shiva's now become my competitor. So he came after Shiva, and then he ran. And Shiva ran, and Vikrasura was chasing after him. And they were running. And at one point, Lord Shiva ran past Lord Vishnu, who was there. And Vishnu saw, he said, there's my devotee Shiva, he's going, what is he doing? And he saw this demon coming. So knowing the whole situation, he stopped the demon. He said, what is going on? He said, Shiva has given me this benediction. Whoever's head I touch immediately cracks. So I'm going to try it on Shiva. So Vishnu said, he's not feeling well lately. He gives out these benedictions and they don't work. And if you try it, you will see. And what will happen if you try it and it doesn't work, everyone will laugh at you. So why make a fool of yourself? And in fact, I'll prove it doesn't work. Just touch your own head. So Vishnu Mayas came. The deluding energy of the Supreme Lord covered his somewhat whatever intelligence he had. And he touched his head. And then the Lord told Shiva, I said, Shiva, don't give out these benedictions. It's not safe, you know. Hiranyakashipu, he was worshipping Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, performing austerities for 125 celestial years. By our calculation of the human calendar, it cannot be estimated how long it is. Every day in the higher planets is equal to 6 months in the celestial realm. No, every day on the celestial realm is equal to 6 months on our level. So for 125 years he was performing the most difficult austerities, standing on his tippy toes with his arms straight up in the air and practicing the pranayama system. His whole body was deteriorated simply by being exposed to the weather and by insects. His body was falling apart. What did he want? He wanted the power to become deathless. And he worshipped Lord Brahma. At one point Brahma came. And Brahma saw, and he said, and when Hiranyakashipu saw Lord Brahma, he just paid his obeisances. And Brahma took out his water pot and sprinkled Hiranyakashipu with, and his body came back. And he says, what do you want? He says, I want to become immortal. Brahma said, can't do that because I'm not immortal. I can't give you what I don't have. But you must take some benediction of me because you've been worshipping me. So he, in so many ways, he tried to create immortality by figuring out different ways not to be killed. So, of course, this story goes on. But the point is that the devas are bound by the materialistic worship of their followers, and they give out benedictions. And that's their service. It's just like if you go and you go to the waterworks man, and you have to pay your water bill, and you give him money. Right? And then he keeps your water going, right? And if you don't pay the bill, he turns it off. So why flatter him? Why do you have to offer prayers, or you don't say, my dear Mr. Waterworks man, you know, Swaha, Om Namo, like that. And the point is that if we simply worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, then all living entities become benefited of that. And Srila Prabhupada would use a simple example that if you feed the stomach, all the parts of the body get nourished. If you water the root of the tree, the twigs, the branches, the flowers, the fruits, everything connected with the root gets the water in the process. So ultimately, the Supreme Lord is the source of all benedictions. He's the source of all auspiciousness. And according to Bhagavad Gita, all living entities have an eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. And the devas, although very powerful, much more powerful than we are, and many of them are great devotees, cannot give the ultimate benediction. The best one can get from the devas is that they can help you in your relationship in worshiping the Supreme. But to worship them as the highest, Krishna says, apriti purvakam. In other words, one's intelligence is taken away, or alpa medasa. He uses the word medasa. Medasa means intelligence, and alpa means very little. But Krishna speaks very strongly in Bhagavad Gita because he knows that generally people are interested in finding happiness through material benedictions. But ultimately he says that the demigods, their material benedictions, the worship, everything is temporary. And the living entity is eternal. Jiva Sarupai Nitya Krishna Das. All living entities have eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. So to try for material benedictions or temporary things as the ultimate goal of life takes away or diverts one's attention away from one's real self-interest or best self-interest. So Krishna ultimately says that ultimately if you worship me, then ultimately one receives the benediction of all other worships. Prabhupada used this simple example. If you have $1 million, you have $100, you have $10, everything is below $1 million is included. In other words, if you have the highest, everything else is there. So here Krishna recommends in the Bhagavad Gita that ultimately to worship him. Why? Because the living entity is eternally connected with Krishna in loving devotional service. And this is the purport of all the religious scriptures. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya hamriti sani visto, matat smriti jnanam apohanam cha, vedais cha sarvam aham eva vedyo, vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. He says, Krishna says, he's speaking directly. Krishna is the speaker of Bhagavad. I am the source of knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. I'm situated in everyone's heart. If you want knowledge, I give you knowledge. If you want remembrance, I give you that. If you want to forget, just like the demons or the atheists, sometimes the atheists come up with very convincing philosophical presentations on why God doesn't exist. Where are they getting their intelligence from Krishna? Krishna gives the intelligence of those who want to forget him. He gives them the understanding how to forget him. Isn't that amazing? There was one atheist in America many, many years ago. Maybe his name was famous atheist. He used to get on television. This was back in the 1950s when television was first coming out. And he would say, God does not exist. And I'll prove it. And he would challenge God. And he would speak very strongly and say, I give God 5 minutes to strike me dead. And he would stop the whole lecture and he would count 5 minutes. And at the end of 5 minutes he said, see, there's no God. This proves it. And all the fools would clap, you know. But then Krishna, he's not bothered with such puny little requests. He's dead now. Krishna killed him in his own time. Not according to his plan, according to Krishna's plan. So Krishna is giving that to the non-devotees, to the atheists. He teaches how to forget if we want to. But he ends this, he says, the knowledge that you want to know me, to worship me, is in the Vedas. And that knowledge is by which you can understand me. So Vedic knowledge is the way to know Krishna. What is the essence of Vedic knowledge? Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatendranatmanaham stradavam bhajite yomam tene yupatamam mataham. He says of all yogis, of all devotees, those who worship me, those who abide in me with loving devotional service at all times, they're the highest and greatest of all yogis. Why? Because they understand the process of yoga, or they understand the process of worship. So this point is very essential to understand, that of all aspects of the Godhead, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And only He is worthy of our worship. Ete chamsam kalom pumsam, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all manifestation, incarnations, demigods, aspects of the Lord's creation and manifestations are simply His energies, or parts and parcels, that's all. So here, this Bhagavad Gita is teaching us the essence of worship. And Krishna, in 2 verses before them, he says, those who are devoted to other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship me only, O son of Kunti, but they do it in the wrong way. They do it in the wrong. Persons who are engaged in worship of the demigods are not very intelligent. Although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge, or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers and directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. And Prabhupada goes on to say, Krishna does not approve of unnecessary worship of the demigods. So what he's saying here ultimately is the Devas, they are also devotees of the Lord. And they're pleased by worship, when the living entities worship the Lord. More so than when the living entities worship them. Because they also are worshiping the Lord. That is because they have their goal is to serve the Lord through their service of organizing and regulating the material affairs. They control all aspects of creation through the, what we say, empowerment of the Supreme Lord. And they are pleased when we worship the Supreme Lord as opposed to worshiping Him. So this is a very important point, because it's easy to become confused and think that all worship is the same. But here Krishna very clearly explains this, and he makes this point over and over and over again. And so people might say, well, Krishna, he's just selfish. He wants all the worship for himself. Why should we even, we have to kind of spread it out. But actually he understands what is the benefit. Just like a father within the family expects the family members to follow. Not because the father is egoistic, but because the father knows that this is the best thing for the family members. The children, everyone follows the authority. So in the same way, God sets up his arrangements, but he ultimately teaches us what is the highest principle to worship him. And worship is the natural constitutional position of all living entities. It's not foreign to our nature to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, one who does not worship the Supreme Lord is condemned. Prabhupada said, one may fail to worship an ordinary person and be criticized, but if one fails to worship the Supreme Lord, they are condemned. So we have to very much carefully understand what is this principle of devotion. As Krishna says here, not all worship is the same. Ultimately, it leads to whatever direction one wants. And even if one worships the demigods and attains some material benediction, and at the end of this life goes to the higher planets where the demigods reside, then that position is also temporary, like everything in this material world. It's also temporary. The material manifestations, although greater or lesser in happiness and facility for enjoyment, are still only temporary. So there's one verse, Tasyaivo hetu pratite nakovito, nalabhyate ta brahmata upariyada, talabhyate dukhanava anya sukham kalena sarvata gambhira ramhasa. It's from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's spoken by Lord Brahma. Now he's a demigod. He's the CEO, the chief executive officer of the whole universe. And he's saying that actually those who are intelligent and philosophically inclined do not aspire for anything within the realm of the material energy. From the highest planet, Brahmaloka, his own planet, he says, down to Patalaloka, the lowest of all planets within the creation. He says, one who has good understanding doesn't aspire for this. And then he goes on to say, and those who aspire for material happiness in this material world, they should know that there's no need to do that, because happiness and distress come automatically with one's birth. Did you know that? That you can't increase your happiness and you can't decrease your misery. Haribol. Isn't that? I mean, everybody's doing that, right? I mean, why would you do anything? But it's explained that karma, daiva, and trena. That as soon as one takes birth, one's material, good karma and bad karma are there within one's allotment. But one can transcend that by taking to the process of devotional service. When one engages in devotional service, one nullifies or cancels out their previous good and bad karma. And they get what is called akarma, or devotional credits. And that brings one to the transcendental platform. So there's no need to try to avoid misery, and there's no need to try to go for happiness. You can't do it. All you can do is take shelter of the Supreme Personality. That's the only thing. There's no other shelter. There's no other arrangement that one can make. And one can try to make any kind of arrangement, but that arrangement ultimately is thwarted by Krishna in the form of time. So even if one attains Brahmaloka, even Brahma has to leave that planet at one point. Prabhupada says that pious credits are like money. When you spend it, after some time it becomes gone. But devotional service is never lost. If one engages in devotional service in this life, even if one only develops a preliminary relationship with the Lord, in other words, one doesn't reach the perfection of that relationship, then in one's next life, one will pick up from there and begin and continue on ultimately to achieve perfection. But in the material aspect of worship, in other words, the devas and their associates, anything you achieve is lost in time. It's all gone, finished. One can be the greatest and highest of all in the material world, and then in another life can be in the most lowest and most abominable position. That is the nature of the material world. And the material energy is always changing. So devotional service means to transcend material energy. It means to come to the spiritual platform, the eternal platform. And that is the platform of knowledge, that is the platform of what we say, satisfaction and happiness. So Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita not only for Arjuna. He spoke it for all of us. And we are all ultimately on the battlefield of life. Birth, death, disease, and old age are the miseries of this material world that no one can avoid. Unless there is a way, unless one comes to the spiritual platform, or the devotional platform. And Krishna says how to do that. He says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto, mam yaji mam namaskuru, mam evaishasi satyam te patichana priyosami. He says, always think of me. Prabhupada said 4 things. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your obeisances to me. In other words, offer your prayers, offer your pranams, think of Krishna, and serve Krishna. These 4 things are the sum and substance of spiritual life. And how to perform them? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the formula. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, kolom nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatya amrita. By chanting the holy names of the Lord, one awakens one's natural inclination to serve the Lord, and ultimately awakens one's love for the Lord. And it's so simple, so easy, and so much given empowered blessings by all the great souls if we simply chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
This is called Maha Mantra. That means the great mantra for deliverance in this age. Kali Kale, Nama Rupa, Krishna Avatar. Krishna has come in the form of his name. That same Krishna who appeared 5,000 years in Vrindavan has reappeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give the highest process of worship of Krishna in Vrindavan simply by chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That is the essence of all spiritual practices. And that's what Krishna is teaching. In the next verse he says, Sarva Dharma Parikshajam Mammekam Saranam Vaja Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Moksayishami Masichaha. Krishna says, I give you assurance, if you abandon all other forms of spiritual worship and simply take shelter of me in devotional service, then you will reach perfection. He says, mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Simple process. Why is it so hard to practice spiritual life? It's not. The process is so simple. But what is difficult? The material energy. Maya, this material energy is constantly throwing upon our existence more and more opportunities to try to find happiness in this material world. Maya means what appears to give something that it doesn't give. This material world is real, but what it presents itself is different than what it actually is. Have you ever tried to grab smoke? You see smoke flying in the air, you ever try to grab it? There it is, like, where'd it go? That's you can see, and there it is. And then you go for something material, and the happiness that you thought you would get is not there. That's mine. It looks good, and even everyone else says it's good, because they want to believe it too. Everyone wants to believe that material life is the source of satisfaction and happiness. But the result says everyone is always unsatisfied. That is the nature of the materialistic lifestyle. Everyone is dissatisfied, guaranteed. But simply, Prabhupada said, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, even at the beginning of the practice, one can feel satisfied and happy. And as one goes deeper and deeper, it's like an unlimited ocean. That one can go deeper and deeper into the mood of devotion. Unlimited. Prabhupada said, if you like to swim across an ocean, you'll never swim across the ocean, because the ocean is so vast and so great. But that's devotional service. At any point, we're always satisfied, but it is unlimitedly expanding itself more. Anandam bhuri vardhanam patipadam purnamrita swaranam. At every step, there's unlimited and limited knowledge and happiness in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna has come specifically to teach that message, especially in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, the process is simple. It's simple. Chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
And Prabhupada used to say, chant and be happy. But there's a purport to that. Chant and be happy has a deep meaning. It means if you chant, you'll be happy. And if you're looking for happiness anywhere else, you'll find it very difficult to find the happiness in the holy name. In other words, if you put your exclusive faith in the holy name, Krishna will reveal that happiness you're looking for. That takes faith. How does that faith develop? By association with those who have faith and by chanting the holy name. Then we develop that faith. And then we develop that experience too. So it's wonderful. You're having everyone is coming together to chant together, to discuss philosophical principles, and ultimately to worship the Lord in devotion. So this is our life. The more we can come together, keeping Krishna in the center, to glorify the Lord, to serve the Lord, and to associate with those who are doing the same, then our life becomes perfect. And whatever we're doing, maintaining family or responsibility for a job, will be done as a obligation that we have to do, but ultimately we'll find our real happiness and satisfaction in the spiritual activities. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I think Maharaj will.
Well, you've already concluded it. I guess now it's time to chant.
Maharaj will demonstrate what we're trying to talk about.
So we're going to chant some bhajan? Is that what's requested? What's that? Oh, yeah, there's some right here. I don't know what's inside them. You'll have to look at the index, if there is one. same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some copies in Hindi also.
Yeah. Gita. Hindi ba yung
Okay, everything's distributed? No, what's on those sheets?
On this sheet,
That's what's on the
Yeah.
sheet.
yeah, Damodar Ashtakam is there.
Other side.
Okay. This is Damodar Ashtakam. And this side is there, yeah, Jai Radhe Ji Krishna.
same I written?
Yes.
Whatever is there on the sheet I written.
All 7 are there.
Alright. I was thinking that Marge was speaking. Prabhupada gives one analogy. I'm not going to speak. I'm going to chant mostly. It's just something that I was thinking of. Maharaj was speaking. He gives the example of the devas. He said, just like in the prison house, sometimes there may be prisoners who've served a sentence for an extended period of time, and because of good behavior they get in responsible positions in the prison. So they may have served, they're serving a long sentence, but after so many years of good behavior, they're given responsible positions, such as they're put in charge of different facilities within the prison. Some of them may be given the key to the supply closet. Someone may be given the key to the administrative office for doing some administrative responsibilities. Someone may be given a key to some storage room. So because they have responsibilities within the prison, they're given keys which allows them access to these various places to go within the prison. So if one prisoner approaches one of these administrative or one of these prisoners and says, "Let me out," they don't. I can give you supplies, or I can let you into the administration office, but nobody has the key to the front door. So Prabhupada gives that example. He says that the devas, they're like responsible prisoners that are given, prisoners that have been on good behavior. They're given various administrative responsibilities within the universe. But if one wants the key to the front door, one has to get the. There's a limited supply of keys to the front door. Devarshi bhutaptani nam pratinam nankinkaro nayamani charajan savatmana yacharana sharanam kato mukundam parihitya kartum. Prabhupada would many times quote this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that anyone who has surrendered his life to the service of Lord Krishna, he is no longer obliged to the demigods, nor the sages, nor people in general, nor forefathers. He is no longer has any obligation to them, because he is worshipping Mukunda. Mukunda, who is the giver of liberation. So, as Maharaj so nicely explained, he concluded his presentation by helping us to understand that the primary method of worshipping the Supreme Lord in this age, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astihi ko mahadgana kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangam param vichet. The age of Kali is dosha nidhe. Dosha nidhe means an ocean of all kinds of bad qualities. In this age, men are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, they're always very much disturbed. Especially we're seeing so much in modern society how great people are disturbed and feeling great stress because of so many obligations to so many other personalities besides accepting their primary obligation, which is to satisfy the Lord and by satisfying the Lord, then automatically all other necessities of life can be fulfilled. But persons have overextended themselves into so many different obligations. We see that the level of stress and the level of anxiety that is there. The primary method for achieving that in the age of Kali, which is an ocean of all bad qualities, is Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangam Param Rajet, is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. One of the bhajans that are here on this sheet, I notice, is a bhajan called Bol Hari Bol. And in this bhajan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sort of like eradicates all one's excuses for if one looking for an excuse to not chant Hare Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes it very clear that there's no excuse. He says that chant the name of Hari, O brothers with blissful minds, chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, birth after birth, in happiness, chant the name of Hari. So if you're happy, chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, you have obtained a human birth. Now chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, whether you are in happiness or distress. Chant the name of Hari. We spoke about this yesterday in Boston. We're talking about Dvaite Bhadra Bhadra Gyan Sabha Mano Dhamma. E Bala E Manda E Sabha Brahma. What is it? Yes. He said Lord Chaitanya describes that the Mano Dhamma means the religion of the mind. The Dvaite Bhadra Bhadra Gyan. He just said one thinks in terms of good and bad in terms of the material world. So whether one is experiencing happiness or distress, both happiness and distress are simply based upon a conception of ourselves. What makes me happy, what causes me distress. And in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says, in the material world, every materialist is endeavoring for happiness, and he's trying to mitigate his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. He says, actually, one cannot be happy. As long as one, as soon as begins his endeavor for happiness in the material world, immediately his conditions for distress will begin. And people are trying to relieve their distress by seeking worldly pleasure, but they don't realize that by trying to relieve their distress by seeking worldly pleasure, they're creating more distress for themselves in the future. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, whether you're in happiness or whether you're in distress, it doesn't make any difference. Just chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, whether in prosperity or misfortune. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, whether you live at home or in the forest. Chant the name of Hari. Remaining in the material world for Krishna's purposes, chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, give up the association of non-devotees and chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, falling at the feet of Vaishnavas. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, chant the names of Gaura and Nityananda. Chant the names of Gaura and Gadadhar. Chant the names of Gaura and Advaita. So I thought it would be appropriate to chant this bhajan. I'll try to... Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I think that that's my fault. I'm expecting a phone call from China. Oh no. Never mind, it's not from China. number 3. Yeah, something just to drown it out a little bit. So, because it's too loud.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe you put it, actually take that lead out and put it on the reeds.
No, it will bounce on the...
What does he want? What does he want?
He wants another chadar to put on top to
I have to throw my voice over the harmonium, and the harmonium is very loud. So my voice will last about another 10 minutes. No, that's
oh,
no, that's okay. The chatter will work. Chatter works. In the land of Nadia on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. Shadavan Janhe, O man of faith. Maharaj talked about the importance of having faith in Krishna's holy name. Shraddha Shabda Kahi Sudhita Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kali Sava Kama Krita Haya. Shraddha. Shraddha means firm, confident faith that by chanting Hare Krishna, automatically all one's secondary obligations will be fulfilled. And conversely, if we do not chant Hare Krishna, even if we try to fulfill all our secondary obligations, they'll remain unfulfilled. So, Shraddha, this verse is specifically aimed for those who have faith. Shraddhavan, those who possess faith. O men of faith, O men of faith, Shraddhavan Janhe. By the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg this one request. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of Krishna. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is your Dana Pran, the treasure of your life. Giving up all improper behavior, carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Krishna. The showing of compassion to all fallen souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. The essence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Trupti candle chair, small.
They will have a picture of
I have candles, but we don't have the sand.
You can put in the, even the thing.
You have some
They can put the soil in aluminium foil, in aluminium tray.
Even that thing will do.
Yeah, okay. Aluminium.
You have the small candles,
Yes,
like in
small
a cake you put?
Yeah.
If you have 1 kilogram of salt, you can put salt in the plate instead of sand. Kitchen salt. It works. Okay.
It's a lot of salt.
Want some water?
I need more than one.
What do you want?
I need another throat.
No, the water's here already.
They get a hot sort of English नहीं है देखो. नहीं box नहीं है
It's a Lord Damodar. And then we have Damodar playing the violin.
Yeah.
Who can tell me what Damodar means? Tell me what Damodar Anybody?
Uda, yes. Down, Uda.
So who can bind Damodar? Who can bind Damodar? Damodar. Bind Damodar. You tell me. Why?
She has immense love for Lord Krishna.
She has immense love for Lord Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna cannot be bound. Even though great sages and mystics have tried to capture the Lord by their meditation and by their austerities and sacrifices, the Lord does not allow himself to become bound by any of these processes. He tells Uddhava, Nasaryado, what's Sankadama Uddhava? Nasaryati Mam Yogo, Sankadama Uddhava. He says, Uddhava, I cannot be bound by Sankhya Yoga, by performance of mystic yoga, by austerities or study of the scriptures. These things do not bound me. He says, but unalloyed devotional service brings me under the control of my devotee. So, Mother Jasoda, she was finally able to bind Lord Krishna around his waist with a rope because she captured Krishna with her love, her spontaneous love. Because one who has spontaneous love for the Lord, they are not in any way thinking of the Lord as being the Supreme Lord. But one who has spontaneous love can be spontaneous only because they have such unalloyed love that it blinds their perspective about Krishna being God. That is the power of the Lord's internal potency, Yogamaya. Just as Krishna says, Naham Prakasha Shavasha Yogamaya Samavrita in Bhagavad Gita. He says, I am never manifest to those who are foolish. And it said, for them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yogamaya. So Yogamaya, she manifests herself in this world. This is expansion of Mahamaya. Mahamaya covers the living entity and makes the living entity forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. But Yogamaya, she also covers in the spiritual world. But she covers to make the devotee forget that Krishna is God. But it's a different type of forgetfulness. Mahamaya makes us to forget that Krishna exists, and we think we're God, or we think some other personalities. We worship the performers, the singers, the politicians. We worship them and make them God. In Kali Yuga it is described in Krishna book, just like in the autumn season, that the luminaries in the sky are covered by the presence of the clouds, and therefore the real luminaries cannot be seen. And sometimes those whose eyes or vision is covered by the clouds, they mistake the glowworms in the trees to be the luminaries in the sky. So that is the nature of the autumn season. They're covered. They're covered by the presence of the clouds, and therefore they think glowworms of trees are luminaries. In the same way in Kali Yuga, people, they worship men who are like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. They worship them, as Bhagavatam describes, and they put them on a pedestal as being gods. But actually, their vision and perspective is covered. They cannot recognize the real saintly persons who are the real luminaries in the sky. They're those who are giving us the understanding of who is Krishna, and what is Krishna's nature, and how Krishna allows himself to become bound by pure love. So, therefore, those devotees who are situated in the platform of spontaneous, unalloyed love, they can serve Krishna in such a way that please Krishna in the highest way by forgetting that Krishna is God, so that they can serve Krishna by becoming Krishna's mother, Krishna's father. Here we just read, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna is our mother, Krishna is our father. Yes, that is true. Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the seed-giving father of all living beings. But Krishna, in his more intimate aspect, in his more intimate aspect, just like a man, he may be a high court judge, and then he's in the courtroom, everybody is coming down and bowing before him, but when he comes home, he takes his robes off, and his son deals with him in a different way. Right? So although he's high court judge, and in the courtroom, everyone comes and stands up as soon as he enters the court and give him great respect. But when he comes home, children, they jump on his lap. They throw their arms around him, embrace him, and sometimes they even play mock fighting with the big judge. So in the same way, Krishna, he is God. But the devotees who have spontaneous, unalloyed love, they can deal with Krishna in such a way that binds Krishna. And Krishna allows himself to be dealt with in that way. Chastised, he allows himself to be, others to jump on his back. He allows others to deal with him in a way that nobody can do except the devotee. Non-devotees, they can never understand this mystical aspect of the Supreme Lord. Just as this described, Nayam Sukapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it says that for Krishna is accessible by those who engage in unalloyed devotional service, spontaneous loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But he cannot be attained by those who practice mystic yoga, or by those who perform great austerities, or those who accept the body to be the same as the self. Krishna is not accessible. So Mother Jasoda, she was able to bind Krishna around the waist with rope because she had this spontaneous love for Krishna, thinking that unless my naughty child is bound to this wooden grinding mortar, bound, he'll run into the forest and he'll get himself into more mischief and more trouble. And I have to stop him, I have to prevent him from getting into any more trouble than he's already gotten into in my home. Not only does he do it in my home, but he goes to others' homes and he does the same thing. He steals butter, he feeds the monkeys. He takes the butter out from the rafters and feeds the monkeys. He breaks open the pots of yogurt, and he throws dirt on the wall. He goes and he releases the calves, and so that the calves go, and the cows, they feed their calves, and so that before the cowherd men have been able to milk their cows. So much mischievous activities. Just like a mischievous child sometimes. Anybody has had that experience? That if you have a young child in the room, the young child likes to get attention. So even though you're trying to have a conversation, the child is doing so many things just to get attention. And everybody's attention is going to the child by his mischievous behavior. He's pulling things down off the shelves. He's opening and closing the door. He cannot contain himself, but he likes all that attention that he gets. and nobody can even do anything. So Krishna, what does he do to make everyone think of him? He engages in mischievous activities as a young child. And therefore, because of his mischievous activities, Mother Jasoda thinks she has to punish her child. She doesn't think this is God. How could she possibly raise a stick at Krishna and shake that stick at him and threaten to punish him and call him a thief and a liar? He says, you liar, you say you didn't steal the butter. I know you stole the butter. And then Krishna said, Mother, I didn't steal the butter. And he says, I know you broke open the butter. And Krishna stops and says, Mother, stop right there. Please don't come any closer. If you come any closer, I'll perform more mischievous activity. So Krishna, in this way, he reciprocates with Mother Jasoda's affection. And she has maternal affection for Krishna. And therefore Krishna engages in such mischievous pastimes to awaken and increase her motherly love, her maternal affection for her son. And it's just like it's described that even sometimes when Krishna is returning from the forest after bringing the calves out into the forest, because Krishna every day goes out to the forest with Lord Balaram and the cowherd boys, and they engage and play and bring the calves in at night. And sometimes the demigods, they come and they throw flower petals upon Krishna. Because they have Aishvaya Bhav. The demigods, they see Krishna as God. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, it is very difficult for them to attain such love as Mother Jasoda has. They see Krishna as the Supreme Lord and worship Him. But Mother Jasoda, she sees these flower petals coming from the sky, and she thinks, oh, how wonderful my son is. Look at the demigods, they're throwing flowers upon him. But she never does, in any way does she think that she become disturbed, her love becomes disturbed by thinking that Krishna is God. Such is the power of unalloyed love that Mother Jasoda. Therefore it says, Nayam Sukapos Dehinam Gopika Sutta. The son of Mother Jasoda, she's called Krishna's called Gopika Sutta. Mother Jasoda, she is a cowardly. And Krishna is the son. So Mother Jasoda is finally able, although she tried very hard, desperately in the beginning to bind her son, the rope was always 2 inches too short. Because Krishna was thinking that, I want to continue my play, I want to continue my mischievous activities, and therefore I don't want my mother to bind me. But Mother Jasoda was so determined to bind her son that Krishna's mercy manifested, his heart became soft as butter, and therefore he finally allowed Mother Jasoda, after a great endeavor, great effort, taking not only all the ropes in her own house, but asking all the gopis and the other elderly gopis to get all the ropes from their houses too, and every single rope in the village was tied to each other, and still she could not bind Krishna. But when Krishna saw Mother Jasoda's intense endeavor, then Krishna allowed himself to become bound. So one can never bind Krishna by any other way. So we worship Krishna in his form of Damodar, one who is bound around the waist by the rope of his mother. And we offer these very wonderful prayers written, they're actually from the Padma Purana, I think. Yes, from the Padma Purana by Shisa Vyasadeva. And it's such the Padma Purana, right here. It's found in the Padma Purana of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. It's spoken by Satyavrata Muni in a conversation with Narada Muni and Shanaka Rishi. So, it's stated, in the month of Kartik, one should worship Lord Damodar and daily recite the prayers known as Damodarastakam, which has been spoken by the sage Satyavrata and which attracts Lord Damodar. So we will chant this prayer to Lord Damodar, and I will read the translation. It'll take a few minutes, but if we listen very attentively, we'll be able to relate to it, because we've already heard a little bit about Damodar. The more we hear, the more it awakens an attraction to hear more. That's the nature of Krishna Harikatha. The more we hear about Krishna, the more we want to hear more about Krishna, because it's very attractive to the heart. Krishna's pastimes are very attractive to the heart. Satam prasangam mamaviya samvado bhavanti sitkana rasayana kata. That's Joshanad Ashra Pavargavatmandi Shradharatir Bhaktir Anukramishati. In the association of devotees, such discussions and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, they are Rasayana Kata, they're very pleasing to the heart. And by hearing such descriptions of the Lord, Shraddharatya Bhakti Ranupanishati. One's attraction to Krishna becomes fixed and he loses his attraction to the material world. And then his real devotional service to Krishna begins. So we'll hear what Satyavrata Muni in his conversation with Narada Muni and Shanaka Rishi had to say about Lord Damodar. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden... It's very difficult. I'm losing my voice.
We have the other translation if you'd rather read that.
No, that's not what's difficult.
I'll do it. I can read it.
Right here.
To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose sharp-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the realm of Gokula, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt, and his mother kept churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from the swing, is quickly running from the grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yasoda, but who had been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisance. Do you have the other translation? I like the other one, but we have it.
It's different, huh?
Where? Somebody have the other translation?
Yeah, you have a lot of voice. Why don't you read it?
Yeah, I know.
Because you have to go about everything else that's going on here.
No, that's not the one.
No?
Yeah, okay. I even have my glasses too. That Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing was quick, and his mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes. He shivered in fright and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound with his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan in Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruit by Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly appear in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow, and am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me, uplift me, and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Mani Griva and Nala Kuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in this same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances.
I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastime.
Damodarashtakam ki.
So if anybody needs any, and we're going to have people can come up and hold the candles.
Hare
Hare
Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Kelsi Kahoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vedic Gadadhar Harshi Vasili Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Navadip Mayapur Dham ki Ganga Mayi ki Yamuna Mayi ki Tulsi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Shri Gaunitai ki Shri Radha Damodara ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki O Premananda Gare Sri Rasamudavoti Gare Sri Rasamudavoti Gare Sri Rasamudavoti Gare Sri Shri Guru and Guru Gare Sri Shri Prabhupada.
निरंजना महाराज की चंद्रमौली स्वामी की No announcements. I will have to start them.
For their sake,
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, and the wind wants to be
Yeah. So
Yoshi says if you give $1,000 or something like that, then they let you give special. They give you special darshan or something. I told her, I don't know. I told her you got
Probably see you next week.
You don't bring
I'm going to try to reach you probably on Wednesday.
Page your PR, time, place. There, 3 days.
Monday, Tuesday.
I can't remember if I leave on Tuesday or Friday. 30th. What day is that?
Today's the 22nd, so.
Yes, it's Friday. Early, very early Friday morning.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
What is it supposed to go?
Admito cambio,